the Ranger class remains one of the best options in Baldur's Gate 3, thanks to its spellcasting, mobility, range damage, and unique arrows. While Rangers are considered a weaker class in D&D, they actually excel in BG3 due to gear and mechanics like surprise and consumables. You could stack oils on your weapon with elixirs like Bloodlust to grant extra action and haste for yet another action. And with Arrow of Many Targets, you can hit 4 enemies at once, making it an incredibly powerful option for your next playthrough. Whether you're a beginner or an honor mode veteran, in this video we'll break down our top builds for the Ranger class in 2026 for Baldur's Gate 3, so you can find the best build for your playstyle. Coming in at number 4, or C tier for this list, is going to be the Swarmkeeper Ranger. Now, the Swarmkeeper subclass is all about precision, allowing you to change effects of your swarm on every attack. This build starts off strong with Hunter's Mark and Moth synergy and increases in its effectiveness over time, plus you have great mobility. You can even teleport after every attack if you want to. Downside though is you are required to constantly micromanage each of those attacks to gain an extra effect, which can be annoying, plus it doesn't have the raw power of the Gloom Stalker build, which we'll see in a little bit, or the ease of the Beastmaster either, which we'll see further down this list. In terms of strengths though, the overall positives for the Swarmkeeper build is the Praise Scent and Gathered Swarm. At level 3, you can pick a swarm which displays as a reaction after hitting a target. You can add extra damage, status effects, or even teleport like I mentioned. This gives you some micro control over every single action. The Flurry of Moths, for example, adds psychic damage which stacks with the strange conduit rings. Plus, you can acquire the Resonance Stone in Act 2 and stack this extra damage with Hunter's Mark. Overall, the result is big damage on each attack at range, especially if the target is vulnerable to piercing. For this Swarmkeeper build, we recommend multi-classing into the Battlemaster Fighter for superiority dice and extra range attacks. While Arcane Archer Fighter might seem like a more logical choice, the arrow's saving throws are determined there by intelligence, so you'll spread your ability score a bit too thin versus focusing on one primary ability score for damage like dexterity. Speaking of which, in terms of character creation on this one, you'll want to multi-class into the Rogue Thief for an extra bonus action per turn. Really helpful for reapplying Hunter's Mark if the target doesn't die or you need to switch targets. And in terms of your origin character, playing a custom character on this build is totally fine. This will allow you to experience the story without being locked into a specific narrative path and make it more flexible overall, especially if you're a first-time player. When it comes to race selection for this one, Wood Elf is going to be the best overall choice. The bonus 1.5 meters of movement per turn combined with Long Strider gives you excellent positioning every round. This extra movement will allow you to kite enemies, reposition to the high ground, and maintain your distance while your animal companion controls the front line. For ability scores, as I said, dexterity would be your most important stat, and it should be set to an odd number at character creation if you plan to obtain the +1 permanent bonus from Auntie Ethel in Act 1. With the setup, you can even reach 20 dexterity in Act 1 using the Graceful Cloth, while still leaving room to invest in Constitution and Wisdom to support more survivability and spellcasting. Finally, in terms of action economy for the Swarmmaster Ranger, I do recommend the Fast Hand feature added via Rogue and the Thief subclass, which provides an extra bonus action to help apply Hunter's Mark each turn, and you can also use bonus actions for cunning actions like Dash to create some massive space, or Misty Step, potions, and elixirs, which gives you a huge per turn advantage, especially when you need to micromanage your swarm. Now, at level 2 of Fighter, you're going to unlock Action Surge, and you can use this once per combat to gain an extra action. This is going to be even more helpful after level 5 since you gain extra attack and every action produces 2 attacks. Plus, it can stack with effects like Haste and Elixir of Bloodlust, resulting in a possible 4 action turn with 2 attacks per action and 2 bonus actions. But there's so much more we can get into on each of these subclass Ranger builds, and we do just that over on our website, that's hacktheminotaur.com, where we show full leveling guides for every build, plus recommended gear for every act in Baldur's Gate 3, so make sure to check that out. Links are also down below in the description. But coming in next at number 3, or the B tier for this list, will be the Hunter Ranger build. Hunter Ranger in Baldur's Gate 3 can actually dominate as a late game area damage dealer with helpful action economy skills. You can hit multiple targets at once with Volley, and early Horde Breaker gives you a free attack if 2 creatures are standing too close together. This build is also incredibly simple, requiring you to play 11 levels as the Ranger so you can unlock Volley, and then 1 level as the War Cleric for an extra bonus action attack. The major downside though for the Hunter is you won't get your best tool until level 11, so you can expect a bit of a slower start in comparison to the Beastmaster or the Gloom Stalker setup. So while the Ranger class is pretty well known for single target damage, the Hunter does excel at AoE thanks to that Volley skill. This is an 18-meter attack that has a 3-meter radius and deals piercing damage. Once you unlock this at level 11, you can effectively double the damage too with a late game item, the Ballast Armor, which doubles your piercing damage. Either a companion or you can actually wear this armor and then move within the 3-meter range to trigger the effect, leading to huge extra damage. And early on for AoE, you also have Horde Breaker, the subclass action unlocked at level 3. This allows you to make a follow-up attack within 3 meters of your primary target. You won't consume an action or a bonus action, allowing you to take extra attacks for free and helping with action economy early on in the game. Lastly, if you do take the War Domain Cleric to unlock War Priest, you also get 1 extra attack via your bonus action. And with extra attack, this allows up to 3 high AoE damage attacks without any potions or elixirs. So if you're bored of like the single target ranger build, this is why the hunter does make an excellent subclass choice for that late game AoE. Now, when it comes to race selection, Wood Elf also going to be the best choice for this build, with that 1.5 bonus meters of movement per turn combined with Long Strider, giving you great positioning. And for ability scores, Dex is again your most important stat here, letting you reach 20 dexterity in Act 1 using the Graceful Cloth armor. But one of the Hunter Ranger's biggest strengths in Baldur's Gate 3 is how efficiently it converts actions into damage every single turn. This build was designed to stack extra attacks, cleave effects, and bonus action utility, so you're constantly pressuring multiple enemies at once without wasting any resources. Make sure to grab some elixirs too for that pre-combat power boost, which don't cost any actions during a fight. And since only 1 elixir can be active at a time, you'll typically choose one that enhances either damage or survivability, like Strength, Bloodlust, or Heroism, depending on your setup. Because elixirs last until a long rest, they're going to be a strong option for maximizing your damage before combat even starts. Potions also primarily use a bonus action, which is going to be critical for rangers who want to stay aggressive. Being able to heal, gain speed, or recover without giving up your main action keeps your damage going. So smart potion usage here lets you stay in position, maintain pressure, and avoid spending turns disengaging or retreating. Once per turn though, when you attack a creature on this build, you can make a free additional attack against another nearby enemy. This doesn't consume your action or bonus action, effectively giving you that extra damage at no cost. And in Crowded Fights, Horde Breaker just dramatically increases your damage efficiency in combat. War Priest, as I mentioned, does add another layer of flexibility on top of this, letting you spend bonus actions for additional weapon attacks. This will be incredibly strong too when you need burst damage to finish a high priority target, capitalize on your advantage, and also gives you something meaningful to do with your bonus action when you don't need to drink a potion or reposition. But as usual, make sure to check out the written guide linked below for our full recommended leveling and gear progression for this one throughout Baldur's Gate 3. Coming in next at number 2 or A tier on this list is the Beastmaster Ranger build, which is going to be great for players who want a faster start, more survivability, and a tankier approach to combat. This build doesn't depend on surprise or even a complex multi-class setup. You just simply summon a companion with you that helps protect, control, and damage the enemies, while retaining the benefits of the Ranger's range and arrows utility. Definitely recommend this for a beginner Ranger setup because it's easy, simple, and effective throughout the entire game while requiring less knowledge about D&D mechanics to get it going. Interestingly, though, the Beastmaster Ranger is one of the few subclasses in the game where multi-classing can actually make you weaker because your animal companion scales directly with your Ranger's level. By level 11, your pets gain Bestial Fury, allowing them to attack twice, making your team's action economy nearly impossible for the enemy to beat. But the main reason to use the Beastmaster Ranger build is those extra companion animals which provide battle control and utility, whether it's the Dire Raven blinding entire groups with darkness, or the Wolf Spider webbing targets to grant you advantage. Your pet does provide some massive boosts to your combat effectiveness. And unlike the Gloom Stalker Ranger's one and done on turn number 1, the Beastmaster excels in more sustained combat situations. You have more health across your entire party, more targets for enemies to miss, plus incredible utility, and you still get all the heavy-hitting Ranger perks like Sharpshooter and extra attack. But like most Ranger builds in Baldur's Gate 3, in terms of character creation, go with Wood Elf again for this one, due to that bonus 1.5 meters of movement per turn, combined with Long Strider giving you excellent positioning every round in combat. And in terms of ability scores, again, Dexterity is the focus stat for this build. Make sure to check out the written guide for the full score breakdown. But in terms of multiclassing, like I said, the Beastmaster Ranger wants to stick with the Ranger class for as long as possible, only potentially deviating from this at level 12 by taking on the War Priest Cleric. This is actually the best way to increase your action economy on this build. You want to reach level 11, as I said, with the Beastmaster for the most effective companion animals, But taking one level with War Priest grants you that extra attack with a bonus action. And since Ranger has extra attack as well at level 5, you can now attack 2 times with your action and once with your bonus. Not only that, but your companion animals also get an extra attack basically at level 11 via the Bestial Fury passive. Another reason to stick with the Ranger class almost until max level. Now your companion animals will also get 2 attacks per action plus extra utility and a bonus action thanks to exceptional training. Combine your turn and your companions, you will attack 4 times with 2 actions and twice potentially with 2 bonus actions. Plus these animal companions stick with others like Scratch, Shovel, or even level 5 summoning spells, potentially creating an entire zoo full of summoned creatures, which is a lot of fun. But that brings us to the final Ranger build for this list, and the best Ranger build for Baldur's Gate 3, the S-tier Gloom Stalker Ranger. Gloom Stalker Ranger build is based on a turn 1 alpha strike concept, basically dealing as much damage initially as possible. This build wrecks enemies even when playing solo and honor mode, attacking from stealth to trigger the surprise status effect. Using a multi-class setup and proper gear allows you to eliminate an entire team before they can even attack you. With spellcasting, high mobility, and elemental arrows, the Gloom Stalker multi-class Ranger build remains one of the best builds in all of Baldur's Gate 3 due to its sheer damage potential in just one turn. Again, that's mostly thanks to the multi-class selections here. The Gloom Stalker and Assassin subclasses give bonuses to turn 1, and if you trigger the surprise status effect, you'll strike 1 full turn without retaliation. So this is how you wipe out a group without even them attacking you once. Another strength of the Ranger in comparison to true D&D is the arrows that you have access to in Baldur's Gate 3, which allow for even more gameplay combos. For instance, you can use the arrow of many targets to hit multiple enemies, coat your weapon with poison before you attack, and then the arrow can put multiple up to 4 enemies to sleep, giving the Ranger AoE crowd control basically all in one action. Nothing really new here though in terms of character creation that we haven't already talked about, except I will say that the Gloom Stalker build is one where going with a Dark Urge playthrough does make a lot of sense. I do recommend Dark Urge here because of the Death Stalker Mantle item, which you gain access to in Act 1. This grants you invisibility for 2 turns after a kill. No other item really has that same power to influence your combat as early on as this, especially if you're playing Honor Mode. You can still play a Tav or default character, it just won't be quite as powerful. Playing Dark Urge does change the story though, so make sure you do your research on that before jumping in. But talking about that turn 1 strategy again, the core of this build's action economy is that interaction between Gloomstalker and Assassin. On the first turn of combat, you gain an extra attack that deals additional damage with the Ranger's Dread Ambusher. Assassin's Alacrity then grants your action and bonus action immediately restored at the start of combat if you initiated the fight from stealth. So this effectively gives you a pre-turn followed by a full turn 1. Then by taking 2 levels in Fighter, you also gain Action Surge, allowing you to double your main actions on turn 1 as well, which is pretty insane. To maximize your action economy, always attack from stealth if you can to inflict that surprise status. The surprise enemy cannot take actions or reactions for 1 full round. The Assassin subclass ensures that any successful attack roll against a surprise creature is an automatic critical hit. This doubles all of your damage dice, including those elemental arrows. And to trigger surprise, you want to attack from stealth without being detected, obviously. This can be done when you know a fight is about to happen, sneaking and shooting the first arrow at long range. Make sure it's a high percentage chance so you land it and you don't become detected. You can also use an invisibility spell or scroll to get closer if needed, but practice crouching while exploring so you can always initiate combat from stealth. Now the sharpshooter feat obtained at level 4 is going to be your most important buff here, adding a flat plus 10 damage to every arrow, and the accuracy penalty is negated by the assassin's advantage on enemies who haven't acted yet. Use your bonus action to mark a high threat target for extra damage on every hit with Hunter's Mark. And if using the Titan String Bow, your damage is further buffed by adding your Strength modifier. So stacking that with an elixir of Hill Giant Strength or Cloud Giant Strength provides a huge flat damage bonus. But as I mentioned earlier, we have incredibly detailed written guides for everything you saw in this video and more over on our website, that's hacktheminotaur.com, or just use the links down below. And if you found this video at all helpful, do me a favor and crush that like button so YouTube knows to share this video with others. Let me know your favorite Baldur's Gate 3 builds down in the comments section below, and thanks again for watching.